Over the last 4 years or so, I believe that I have tried every single zero waste period swap on the market, so let's talk about them. Hello everyone, it's Emma and welcome back to my channel where we talk about all sorts of things zero waste, focusing on free, easy, and fun ways to live the waste and ways that we can all be activists. I know I talk a little bit fast. There's a gear icon right down here where you can just speed up the video to something that better suits you. So today, let's talk about every single zero waste period swap that I can think of that I have personally tested and compare them. And of course, if I forgot any, let me know down below and I'll test them out next. Let's start with a very, very common one, a menstrual cup. Although this is not a menstrual cup, this is a menstrual disc, which we'll talk about next. I can't find my menstrual cup because I don't really use it. And that tells you how much I like it personally. So what even is it? This is an internal period device shaped like a little cup. It stays in place via suction and can stay inside for up to 12 hours with no risk of toxic shock. And it lasts for years at a time. You only need one of these per person, making them one of the most affordable and most sustainable options. But it can take some practice getting used to it. Yes, even if you're used to tampons, it can still take some practice. So the pros. Though it can be a little bit pricey up front, as with all of these swaps, you only need one per person and they can last for a long time. You know, if you only have $20 to $30 to spend on your zero waste period swaps, this is a great place to start because you only need to spend $20 to $30 up front and it'll last you years. As opposed to some of these other swaps, it might cost a couple hundred up front. And compared to some of the other zero waste period swaps, this is one of the easier ones to use in public. It's relatively easy to dump and reinsert when you're in a public space, as well as you don't have to carry extra of them because you can just keep using the same thing over and over again. Compared to these other ones, it takes very little water to clean. It is extremely easy to sanitize a menstrual cup between cycles, and there are plenty of sizes out there to include quizzes that you can take to find what works best for you and your body. Now for the cons. It can be a little bit messy to change, and it will not work with every body type, which is specifically why I don't like menstrual cups personally. I have a pretty low cervix, making it very uncomfortable. If you have an IUD, beware. It is totally possible to use a menstrual cup with an IUD, but because it is suctioned in place, if you do not break the suction and you just pull it out, it can potentially remove your IUD. It is a pretty low risk. So if you have an IUD and you want to use a menstrual cup, just simply break the seal. You have the cup, push down on it before removing. Much better demos out there for how to use these devices and how to remove them safely. I think the biggest con is that it can just take a long time to master. If you don't get it into the right spot, it's uncomfortable, it can leak, which is my next con, that leaks are common. So for me, it's pretty equal on pros and cons. I just personally don't like a menstrual cup because it doesn't work for my anatomy, but I love the concept of a menstrual cup and I do wish it worked for me. Some popular brands out there are Salt, Diva Cup, and June Cup, and my personal favorite, which is the same brand as my menstrual disc, is Salt. And my link always gets you 15% off when you shop for Salt. All of the brands mentioned are in the blog post down below. Now moving on to a menstrual disc. It comes in this little handy pouch, so does the menstrual cup. So here's what she looks like. It is the same menstrual disc that I have had appear on my channel over the years because they are quite different, to include this little lip right here, which we'll come back to. Similar to a menstrual cup, a menstrual disc is an internal period device shaped like a shallow bowl. It looks big, but it can fit in just about any body type and body size. This device does not use suction, making it easier for you to use if you have an IUD, or if the suction of a menstrual cup is just uncomfortable. Instead, this tucks up above the pelvic bone to stay in place and can even self-empty when you go to the bath, meaning that you don't have to manually empty it with your hand. Though there are some glaring similarities to menstrual cups, such as it can stay inside for up to 12 hours with no risk of toxic shock, it lasts years at a time, and you only need one of these per person, making them one of the more affordable options. And just like with a menstrual cup, this can also take some practice getting used to, even if you have used tampons in the past. Starting with the pros, just like a menstrual cup, this can be a little bit pricey up front. We're talking like $30 for this little device sometimes, but it can last you literally up to 10 years if you take care of it properly. This is also relatively easy to use in public, especially if it does self-empty, which kind of depends on when and where it self-empties, if it's a pro or a con. If you're actively going to the bathroom and it self-empties, that's a huge pro. Now you don't have to take it out. You don't have to worry about reinserting it in a public place. But even if you use your hand to empty this, I still find it less messy than a menstrual cup because of this little gripper right here. And to reinsert, you fold it so it's narrow like a tampon. And then it should pop open, tuck up into place, and you should be good to go. This also requires very little water to clean and is super easy to sanitize between cycles. Once again, there are plenty of sizes and quizzes available to find what works best for you and your body. And this is a much safer option for IUDs. Now for cons. The self-emptying can be a con as well. If you are just walking around and you do not intend for it to self-empty, it can cause leaks. This may also not work with every body type. This works better for me having a low cervix. Just like with a menstrual cup, if you don't insert it precisely perfectly, it's gonna be uncomfortable. And it can also take a while to master. Some popular brands out there are Salt, Nixit, Diva Cup, and June Cup. For the menstrual disc in particular, my favorite brand is Salt because of how small it is. Some of the other ones are huge. All right, our next one, you may have never heard of this before. That is a reusable tampon applicator. If you're a fan fan of tampons but not a fan of the waste, try a reusable tampon applicator. Yes, the tampons are still wrapped in plastic for sanitation, but the applicator and the larger package that it requires make up the bulk of tampon waste. It's not perfect, but it is far less wasteful than traditional US tampons, and it is a great baby step if you are not ready for a menstrual cup or menstrual disc. I also personally like this option when I'm going backpacking to help with sanitation, and I feel much better about using this to insert a tampon than using my dirty, grubby hands that I haven't washed in days. There are so many options why somebody might choose this to include accessibility, very little learning curve, or you could just skip this entirely and just learn how to use applicator-free tampons. That's kind of what I did. I bought this because I was not really that great at using tampons, and I started using tampons because of backpacking. It was way too difficult to use period underwear when backpacking, and because I was not too confident in using a menstrual disc, I thought tampons are a great middle ground. But eventually I'm like, I don't really like carrying that around. It's kind of a pain to clean when in public. I'll just use this. I will just insert this with my hand and I'll take it out with my hand and it's good to go. It's less trash. Like, look how many tampons fit in this bag. I've got a whole handful of tampons. The space saving, the trash saving when you just simply opt for applicator free tampons is great. It is a great low waste option if you're not ready to switch to something else. Just to reiterate how small these tampons are, there are 56 tampons in this box. 56 right here. Like, this is the size of a box of Tampax. And this has, what, 64 plus 56? What is that, 120? So much less waste. And bonus tip, shop organic. Okay, the pros. I've said it time and time again. The smaller size of a applicator-free tampon makes it so much easier for storage, for travel, etc. There's no learning curve to this if you already use tampons. This is the only packaging you have. It's so much less. This has 3 parts. It has a cap, it has the base, and it has the inserting part, tampon into the part that you're going to insert into your body. Put the base on there, and now look, it's like a regular tampon. If you already use tampons, you should know what to do at this point. And another pro, this is simply just a great step on your low waste period journey if you're not ready to dive into one of these more advanced ways to take care of your period in an eco way. Now the cons, of course, it is imperfectly zero waste. You are still going to have some waste every cycle. Therefore, you're still going to have to buy something every cycle as well. And if you are opting for organic can cost more than what you're used to buying, but organic is better for your body. Some popular brands of applicator-free tampons are Natracare, the Honey Pot, and Dame. My personal favorite are Natracare and Dame. And then the only reusable tampon applicator that I have been able to find is from Dame. Moving on to reusable pads. If you've been around the channel for a while, you will know I used to hate reusable pads, but these ones changed my mind. So what are they? Though not adhesive, these reusables button underneath your underwear with wings. They are reusable for years at a time. The only thing different from disposables is that you have to handle them to wash them, so get comfortable with your blood. Depending on the brand, some of these may adjust over time in your underwear as they are not adhesive. Some brands are much more comfortable than others, but they are relatively affordable and easy to try. First pro, they are reusable for many years at a time, therefore saving you money over time. I also find that if you already use pads, there's very little learning curve to using these. The only thing that's really different is that you have to wash them out. And speaking of, they are very easy to hand wash and very easy to machine wash as well. I do both. After using a pad, I will wash it by hand to get as much blood out as I can. I will put it in the wash with my regular laundry and then give it a machine wash as well. And I found that these were so much easier to wash than period underwear. It's kind of what sold me on these. And then they store nice and small like that. These were much more comfortable than the ones I have tried in the past, but truly the ease of washing reusable pads versus washing reusable underwear is so much better. Here are the wings underneath, fold over and button into your underwear. This brand is Nora and I am obsessed. Now, some cons. The biggest con is obviously that it is not adhesive. Yes, it still attaches into place via the snap, but there's nothing on here keeping it precisely in place. So sometimes it will shift a little bit forward, it will shift a little bit backwards, so you do have to be mindful about that. The first and only time that I tried these out, I was just at home. I was walking around town, like walking to Nahi. I didn't do any sports. I didn't do a whole lot of exercise. I didn't ride my bike. I didn't do anything like that with these on. So I'm excited to try these more throughout more of my daily routines and habits. But for just sitting in my office and walking around town, these were so comfortable. I tried a brand in the past that would also shift like this, side to side. I could feel it bulky all day long. These were excellent. They stayed in place really, really well, and they hold so much. I tried these on the heaviest day of my cycle. Normally, I have to change period underwear about every 3 to 4 hours. These I kept on for up to 8 hours on the heaviest day of my cycle. Another con truly is that they are quite bulky. They are bulkier than disposables and can make it a little bit uncomfortable at times. I truly find that though, this depends on the brand. These are really, really soft and pliable. Some of the other ones are like really stiff. Those are the more uncomfortable ones. And obviously it's hard to tell until you get some in your hands. Though a very common con with reusable pads that I have tried, as well as period underwear, is that they are very uncomfortable when you get sweaty. I truly don't like using any sort of external period care in the summer. Of course, not everybody is going to want to wash their blood out of things. It takes a lot of getting used to do that. So maybe that's not for you. This is not necessarily a con, but just maybe a downside. I don't know. It's the same thing. Is that it does require you to air dry them to make them last as long as possible. The absorbent lining inside of here can deteriorate when exposed to hot temperatures. No, you don't have to have a clothesline. You don't have to even do it outside. I air dry them right here in my office. If you have a towel rack in your bathroom, just hang them over the towel rack. You'll find a way to air dry them. You don't need a lot of space, especially for pads. They take up a lot less space than period underwear. Some popular brands are The Period Company, Little Helper, Glad Rags, and Isle, but my personal favorite right here is Nora, and they just launched September 4th. They are brand new to the zero waste period market. Okay, just as a memory refresher, this is the size of over 100 tampons. This is the size of a menstrual cup. This is the size of 5 pads. This is the size of period underwear. Granted, I have way more than the average person because simply I've just been testing so many brands over the last 4 years. I've gotten a lot gifted to me. I love having a lot of period underwear, but man, do they take up a lot of space. If you're a fan of pads, then you'll love these even more. Though I was blown away by my Nora pads, I am still a huge fan of period underwear, largely due to their comfort. They are far less bulky than pads, and oftentimes I forget I'm wearing them, as I just feel like I'm wearing normal underwear. The biggest downside though is that you do have to take your pants off in order to change them. These are essentially underwear that you can free bleed into, making them the most comfortable eco-period swap in my opinion. But are they safe? You've probably heard that there are PFAS in our period underwear. Not every brand. I highly recommend you check out this video next where I dive into all of the different toxins in all of our different period products, because it's a lot of our period products that contain PFAS, lead. It's not great, but there are plenty of brands that do test, that are certified safe, all in that post. So the pros, truly so comfortable. As you can see, it looks like a regular pair of underwear with the exception of this black lining. It's really not that thick. Some of the brands, the padding will go all the way up to the waistband. Some of them don't. They are also long lasting. I have had some of these pair for years. I think I got this pair of Wuka in 2021, but honestly, they're not quite as long lasting as some of the other brands. I have had several brands, I've had several pair of Modi Body ones deteriorate over time. I have had them the longest, but they have been my only brand to wear out on me. My only guess is that because I like Modi Body more, I was wearing them more and therefore wearing them out. But some of them only lasted 2.5 years, and I would only be wearing them once or twice per month. I think really what it comes down to is that you have to scrub the blood out. And in order to scrub the blood out, like sometimes I will use my thumbs, I will rub it against each other like a washboard kind of method, because if you leave any blood in here, it's gonna start to smell over time. So that's also going to deteriorate the quality of the underwear if you don't get all the blood out. So I would rather wash them a little bit aggressively to get all of the blood out, but then you risk rubbing a hole into the crotch of the underwear. So my method recently has been to rub it like this, the fabric against each other, instead of using my hand aggressively. But also I think it depends on what they use as the liner as well, because this one feels more durable. This one is from Salt. Honestly, my biggest con with period underwear is they don't last as long as I thought they would have. When I bought them in 2021, plenty of them with my own money, I was for sure they were gonna last me at least 5 years, if not longer. And most of them haven't even made it to the 4-year mark. Anyway, we're still on the pros. A pro is that they are very absorbent for long periods of time, unless your period is really heavy. I honestly do not recommend period underwear if you have a heavy period. And really, it comes down to the seams. The black absorbent part absorbs really well, but the seams do not hold up. That is always where it leaks. I never leak through. I think the biggest pro to period underwear, again, is the comfort and that there's really no learning curve. Other than that, you just have to get used to washing blood out of fabric. Now, let's move on to the cons. Biggest con number 1, it can take a lot of water to get these clean. Yes, it is still more sustainable than disposables. It takes a lot of water to grow cotton to make your pads and your tampons, so it's still a sustainable option even if you're using a lot of water at home, but man, it can be a lot of water. For maximum comfort and maximum coverage during your period, you do need more than 1 pair. I would recommend at least 3, depending on how heavy your period is. And that would simply be, you take one off, you hand wash it, you air dry it, and then you use it as soon as it's dry. You don't have a chance to machine wash it. For like absolute maximum comfortability, I would recommend like 3 pair per day. And that's a lot. That can be like up to 20 pair of period underwear, and that can get really expensive. So I think that's easily the biggest downside to period underwear. They are the most expensive and you need the most of them. I mean, you need a lot of the reusable pads as well, but they're a lot cheaper. Of course, this is an entire pair of underwear. It requires you to take your pants off to change them. Not a big deal when you're at home. That can be a little bit awkward when you're in public. It also makes it a hassle to change in public, and also sometimes impossible to change in public if you don't have a means to transport dirty underwear home. Just like with the reusable pads, not everybody wants to wash their blood out of stuff, and maybe that's not for you, and therefore period underwear are not for you. Not necessarily a con, but to make them last as long as possible, you do need to air dry them. Again, the lining inside can deteriorate with high temperatures. So air dry them. Again, you can get a clothing rack to do inside your home. You can air dry them outside, or you can just drape them like over the top of your shower curtain, like so. They'll dry eventually. Some popular brands are Thanks, NYX, and Modi Body, but my personal favorites are Modi Body, Salt, K&S, Revel Cares, Wuka, and the Period Company. All right, a few more ways that I take care of my period in a more sustainable way. Bringing that back to natural care, I really love these wipes. Do not flush them. Do not flush wipes, even if they are deemed flushable. They most often contain plastic. Don't do it. Throw them away. But I believe these are made out of bioplastic, which is cool. So like if you do love wipes, especially to feel clean, opt for a more eco-friendly option from Natural Care. When it comes to washing reusable pads and reusable period underwear, I will sometimes use some sort of laundry bag or garment bag, so that way I don't lose them. And that way I actually make sure that I get all of them out of the wash before they end up in the dryer. Because again, it is absolutely the best to avoid the dryer as much as you can with period underwear and reusable pads. So if this helps you remember to take them out before they go into the dryer, this can also be great for you as well, and it's endlessly reusable. You can find these just about anywhere. And this is kind of my zero waste period kit on the go. I'll put this in my hiking bag, in my school bag. This is just a toiletry bag that is old. The absolute key part in here is a grocery bag in case I have reusable pads, reusable period underwear that I need to transport home and I don't want to get blood everywhere. A disposable bag is excellent. I have a bag full of tampons in here, and then I usually have a pair of period underwear in there, so I guess I will grab one right now. So now my on-the-go period kit is ready to go. I'm pretty sure most heating pads are reusable, but make sure that your heating pad is reusable if that is something that you rely on. I got my heating pad secondhand. It's a plug-in one, and then another heating pad that I have that is microwave only is from Cherapy. It is made from reclaimed cherry pits, which is so cool. It's preventing food waste. It is a small business. It is handmade. As well as medications, if you do take medications while on your period, I find it best to buy medications in bulk. And by in bulk, I just mean the largest quantity that I can find. If I want to refill a small bottle, say for my travel period kit, I will just refill a small bottle at home instead of buying a whole bunch of small bottles over and over and over again. I buy the big one to refill the small ones that I already have to reduce some waste. I also stock up on my favorite snacks at the refill store. And if you want full tips for shopping at the refill store, check out this video next. When I'm hand washing my reusables, I am mindful to conserve as much water as I can. What I mean is, as soon as the water runs clear, I turn it off. I don't waste any water as far as I possibly can. And then to wash my reusables in the laundry, I use eco-friendly laundry detergents. And of course, I air dry them, which can help conserve some energy as well. So there you have it, a little bit of my personal eco period routine, as well as all of these different swaps that I have tried over the years, the pros, the cons, which ones I love, which ones I maybe don't love. But honestly, I see why there's value in every single one of these products. I think just really go what works best for you. If you prefer internal period care, try a period cup or a menstrual disc. If you prefer exterior period care, highly recommend Nora pads in particular, and also brands like Salt and Modi Body for reusable period underwear. All of the brands are down below in the blog post. I'll make it very clear on where you should click the link if you want to shop. And if you're already in the market for some of these swaps, using my link helps supports me at no extra cost to you. It is an affiliate link in which the brand gives me like 5% of a commission for referring you to their brand at no extra cost to you. It is a great way to support me for free for a product that you were already gonna buy. Now, if you do want like a little bit of a vlog, a look into my personal eco period routine, let me know. I'm happy to make that if there's interest. And if you found any value in this video, don't forget to give it a thumbs up, leave a comment on what your favorite zero waste period swap is, and don't forget to share this with others to spread the word. Having a period can be one of the most wasteful parts of our lives, but it doesn't have to be. And some of these swaps are super easy to use. So again, let us know what your eco period routine looks like down below. And if you want more zero waste period content, check out the full playlist right here, and all of the videos are down below, to include reviewing all of these brands in depth. But that is all for now. Thank you so much for watching. I appreciate your time. I will see you in the next video. But until then, remember that your small actions make a big difference in the long run. Bye, guys. The sun is awful. As well as, the sun, I'm so sorry.